This week on the Analog Assault Podcast, episode 113, we're talking Cyberpunk 2077, Mando, and some big news from Bioware. So let's go!
You're listening to Analog Assault, a video game podcast by Mulehorn Gaming.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another Analog Assault Podcast. We got all the cool cats here tonight with us. We got Rad. What's up, Rad?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Scarecrow.
Yo.
Lupo.
So,
And last but not the least, Prime Time.
Woo! What's happening?
In that, when we were like sitting silently, I looked over at Lupo. He was like staring into my soul just then. I feel like a new person.
We're trying to help out Underdog with the editing of the audio podcast. So we.
I was just like, Lupo. Oh,
it was
It's
so
on
funny.
Taylor, right?
I could hear my eyebrows
Like
moving.
that.
I know.
There's
It
a
was
hint
very
of green in
impressive.
your eyes. Yeah. So before we get
Feel
into
my eyeballs moving.
right.
Wow.
So before we get into this episode, we get a little bit of housekeeping here. If you like the content right here you see on Twitch, then smash that sub button to help support MHG and keep the lights on. You can catch the podcast live every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time at twitch.tv/Mulehorn Gaming. You want to be a little closer to the community, then hit exclamation point Discord to jump in our Discord. And if you like Star Wars content, tiktok.com/Mulehorn Gaming. Lots of Star Wars stuff there, guys. So,
Just a
I didn't get the podcast with y'all last time, so
No.
how's it been, guys? What y'all been watching, playing, doing?
Watch him play.
Watching? Not much. Playing? Lots of Valhalla. Oh my god. There's just too much to do to put the controller down when I'm home. I play it while I'm eating. Like I'm making dinner, I'm like, I'm gonna watch some Valhalla.
He's
Yeah.
prepping for Cyberpunk is really what he's doing.
So
There he is.
freaking
Yeah,
true.
he's in full on cram mode now. Like,
He's
I
like,
need
let
to
me
get this in.
practice this for next week. Yeah.
Have to finish this before next week.
Right?
I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna make it, but there's gonna be a big push this weekend. So hopefully a
Nice.
good chunk's done. So when I come back to it, all I have to do is wrap it up and do whatever DLC's out. So whenever that is, because Cyberpunk's gonna be massive.
That's what she said.
Yeah, it is.
Right
That's
on,
about it.
right on. Not watching anything at all, Prime?
Nope.
Watching how to Valhalla
Nope.
videos.
Yeah, YouTube's. That's about it.
Yeah.
Whatever's on the background when my kids are here, whatever they're watching. Try
Yeah.
not to like. What are you watching?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
Right on.
Yeah, that's about it, man. Nothing too exciting. Yay.
Right on.
Next.
Next.
I guess I'll go next. Classic me playing everything. Put in some good time into Genshin Impact and a bit more into PSO2 this week. They announced, sadly, but also really cool that they announced, for me at least, next week, same day, or when does Cyberpunk come out? Thursday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, Thursday.
at midnight.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless your
So
PC like
the-
Brad and Lupo.
The final episode for PSO2 comes out the same day. So I'm really torn on which one I'm going to play because I have been looking forward to this episode since the game released because I knew it was when the final two classes were going to be released. And it's going to just complete my build finally after a year gameplay. I can't imagine like how the original players did this because they did this over 8 years. Had to wait 8 years for all this stuff. I mean, they didn't know that it was going to come out, obviously, but there's been a lot of good content in that game this year. I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Genshin Impact
Nice.
had a new banner drop, more new characters, more new waifus and husbandos. Enjoying that. Really enjoying the new guy.
Mine's
He
bigger
reminds
now.
me a lot of a Destiny Warlock. I don't know if Lupo can concur.
I
Just
checked it out a little bit.
His outfit and everything.
Yes. Mhm.
Reminds me a lot of a Warlock. And then Destiny. The rest of the other three of us, Rad, myself, Lupo, jumped into the new raid Saturday. Got that baby done. Got that raid jacket. Haven't ordered it quite yet, but we all got the
nice.
information for it. I'm
Very
sure.
nice.
Got the clear. Only took us 3 hours and change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
Give or take.
good.
Yeah, 3.5. We got Lupo and I split the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I said 4, Rad said 3, so we finished at 3:17, and that's with like telling people
And
what
that's
to do.
yeah,
and
that's
debriefs
with
and stuff.
explaining all the figuring out all the mechanics, doing a few test runs on stuff, nearly wiping on the final encounter.
That was
That was
amazing.
fun.
That was fun. That was a raid moment right there. Like we had 3. I think we only had 3 people still alive at the very end.
Yeah, and Lupo and I like died like right next to each other, and we were both just
Oh,
screaming like,
so-
"Res one of us! It doesn't matter who it is, just get one of us up."
Yeah, I had the last res token. I res someone.
It was
and then 2
Lupo,
other
and
people
then I
went down.
followed Lupo around.
Then someone,
we
then a
did
couple
final
other
ending.
went down.
Yeah.
But finally got that done. None of us got the new exotics rocket launcher, unfortunately. Maybe next week.
Lupo probably.
Is that only a raid
probably
drop?
Lupo.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's only a raid drop.
Yeah.
Okay.
The new Galahorn 2.0.
Ooh.
Yep.
That's not looking good for me then.
Nope.
It's not a hard raid.
No, it's
Like,
not a hard
we're-
raid at all.
We're finishing the raid with shotguns and anarchies, if that like gives
All
you a
right.
picture.
All
Like,
right.
the requirements aren't like super crazy. It's just
so
a
you're
lot
saying
of
there's
like
a chance.
yeah, it's a lot of communication, and then once you got that communication, like just making your call outs, you're good. Like they put out the stats today on the TWAB, and it was crazy how many. I don't have the stats in front of me anymore, but they were showing the last 3 raids, including this one. Last Wish only had 4 day 1 completions,
Yep.
and this one had like I want to say 23,000.
Yeah,
I
some
think
of that.
Yeah, something like
20
that.
some thousand day
Mhm.
1 completions. And yeah, a lot
Very
a lot
nice.
easier at least once they figured stuff out. It's intense. Like it was really fun, but a lot. I think it was also because maybe there weren't as many DPS checks as some of the other raids.
Yeah. There wasn't.
It was a lot more mechanics checks,
Yeah.
just making
It's
sure
fun,
you're
though.
timing stuff.
Yeah, I
That-
enjoyed it.
That third encounter is very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
We'll see
it's a
what-
lot of crazy. It reminds me a lot of like Wrath of the Machine. Honestly,
I agree with you. Hmm.
it was fun.
Yeah.
Right on.
Sounds awesome, guys.
So I guess we'll jump into what I was playing and what I was watching. I'm trying to. I'm sorry.
Was
I'm trying to
that
progress
sarcasm,
this here.
Prime?
Never. I'm serious as it gets. Look at my
Oh
face.
boy.
So I'm not playing much. Had a lot of work last week, so I played a little bit of Genshin Impact. You know, it kind of had like somewhat of like the same experience as Crow, so I won't elaborate too much. And then same thing, Destiny. Just trying to get as much Destiny in as possible. There's like a lot of like little quests to do, which is nice. You know, usually you pretty much knock everything out in like the first week, but this has some substance to it. You know, building up your subclass takes some time, and it's rewarding. You know, you can build your subclass exactly how you want to do it. And I think it's a lot of fun, and it gives I guess like the moderate hardcore like something to look forward to. Like the hardcore, they're done already, you know, like, but like people that play more than like once a week like now have things to work forward to like every week, you know, and it's nice to do that right now. I'd
Oh,
love to play more. I just
yeah.
don't have the time.
With as much as we play, like I've only been able to do like the hunts the first week.
Yep. Yeah.
I completely forgot about it until today, and I saw that the TWAB had Crow on the front of it. I'm like, oh yeah, hunts are a thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I
And
heard
then,
one of the SMGs you get from Crow is amazing. So
Yeah, there's some good stuff there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then watching Not watching, like, obviously, like, I watched Mandalorian, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But like all of like my weekly animes were off this week, and I was just really sad about it. So,
Are you watching Sorcery Fights still?
yes,
Did you watch
yes,
the new
I watched.
episode?
Yeah, I did today. Yes, I did. That was very good.
Yes.
So I started watching One Piece again, and I watched maybe about 10 episodes of One Piece, and then I start like I at the end I realized why I don't watch it all the time. So we'll see what happens next week when my shows come back.
Yeah.
Rad, how about you?
Oh, I've been playing Destiny. Shock, awe, surprise. Have not finished Ghost of Tsushima yet. But I did get all of my characters, their like base gear that I use most of the time, all at 1250. And that was my goal before Cyberpunk, because then it's just pinnacles that I have to grind, and that's is what it is. So they're all sitting at 1265 right now with the artifact, and yeah,
Nice.
It's gonna be good. Looking forward to literally only logging into raid over the next few weeks.
What's your season rank at with that?
About 120.
I think I hit
go-
like 43, and I'm like, geez,
Yeah,
I hit
I'm
that
at
fast,
52.
and then I was
Yeah.
Go
like,
really quickly
wow.
through. I also like hoarded bounties. So like on the first day I was at like 25, and then I just
Okay.
on your ghost now you can put like that massive XP boost. So I just, and I'm a bounty, like, what's a polite word?
Bounty fiend.
Yeah, fiend. Good. That's better than what I was gonna say. I bounties, like, my dear friend Volcasmic, who I think is watching right now, she once said, like, very plainly, like, yeah, you do like those bounties, and it's just like, it gives me something to do. It's like, okay, I gotta go in and do all this, and then I can be done or whatever. So yeah, I got through it very quickly, and definitely do the Wrathborn hunts, by the way. As you like rank up with him, the drops that you get like 5 powerful drops from like each hunt. So it's like really easy to like boost your gear up. Like you get an at level drop, like, or like a powerful drop from the hunts, and then when you finish you get a pinnacle drop. It's bizarre. It's like really easy to level up.
A tier 3 pinnacle too. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, it's a pinnacle once you level up with him. It's like,
oh, that's right. Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
I'm haven't fully leveled, so I'm only like, it's only a tier 3 pinnacle right now.
Yeah, when you fully level,
three-
or it's like
yeah.
it's like level 5 with him, you get a pinnacle drop. Anyway, Neil's making a face. No, I'm just kidding. So
I'm always making this face.
I know. Okay, so as for what I'm watching, to Lupo's delight, there's no sports on right now, so I'll be rating. But my husband and I have been watching Futurama, as I keep mentioning, and then it was a big Orange is the New Black fan for a very long time. I was like on the hype train when it first came out in 2013. I absolutely loved that show, and it came out last year, the final season, and I never watched it. I just like didn't watch it, so I'm going back and watching it now, and I can't feel my face or my feelings, and I don't have the emotional capacity to be watching this show, but here I am. So it's been enjoyable. If you are somebody who likes dramas, I certainly encourage it. For adults, do not watch it with your kids.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I think I've seen the first 2 seasons back in the day.
it's good.
Maybe
There's some stuff that's not as good, but it is great, and then it gets kind of crappy, and then it gets better at the end. So prepping for Cyberpunk, there's a new article on mulehorngaming.com with some info about Cyberpunk, if you are interested. And yeah, Mule, I think it's your turn, man.
Right on. What I'm playing, not Destiny. No, I'm playing very, very, very little. I think I'm like light level, like 12, 13, or power level, I should say. Power level 12, 13.
I still say light level too.
Yeah.
Almost ready for the raid.
I have been playing a little bit of Rogue Company Ranked. I've been playing a lot of Valhalla. Actually, a lot. I'm probably like on the last quarter of the game, because I was trying to beat it by the 10th for our deal with Fake. But I realized I don't want to kill myself. And so I decided not to do it, because I'm like, you know what? I don't want to. There's so many things in Valhalla. It's like Odyssey. There's so many good little nuggets that I'm like purposefully having to bypass to try to finish the story. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do that because there's just so much
Sorry,
good stuff.
can't save you. Can't
Yeah,
save
but,
you.
like,
Can't
yeah.
save you.
Is
Yeah.
there
Hold on,
more
but,
or
like-
less? Sorry, we start at the same time. You go.
Yeah, go ahead.
What
Lynn.
I was gonna say, like, you're in the midst of competition there. At that point, you cut any corner possible.
I'm trying, man.
If there's other
That's
things
the
like in your
thing.
way, they don't exist.
Yeah.
Right.
Critical path
Yeah.
only.
Yeah, and I'm trying, man, but it's like the RPG player in me is like, you know, and so I really want to go do the stuff, but like I'm like, man, so I just decided I was like, all right, I'm just gonna have to come back to it, or just play it every once in a while between like the other games I play. But yeah, Valhalla is really good. I like it. It started out kind of slow for me, but it really starts to pick up with the combat and the story. The story is great. It's crazy. The story's freaking crazy, guys.
Oh yeah, it's getting crazy where I'm at.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Other than that, I've been watching a lot of The Mandalorian over and over and over.
Oh, I've been watching that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times have you watched the most recent episode?
Wait. Let's take bets. Let's all take a
Okay.
guess. I think
Okay.
it's 8.
7.
$1, Bob.
I'm gonna go with at least 10.
It's been about 5, but that's because Thanksgiving and I didn't watch it as much. So
Okay, fair.
yeah. But I've been also
That's
rewatching.
sad.
Yeah, I've been rewatching Rebels with, excuse me, with the wifey because she's never seen it. She's seen like bits and pieces because me and my boys watch it like all the time.
Yeah,
Is this called Rebels and Chill?
Oh.
No,
Is that this kind of
Just checking.
podcast?
no. But that's my night off, Prime. That's when I relax.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. It's like we were watching the end of season 2, Twilight Apprentice, when they're on Malachor, and I noticed something cool because most people know the backstory, some don't. Darth Maul has like a little earring piercing in his ear. Ray Park, when he was in the Phantom Menace, when they were doing the makeup, he accidentally left that earring in his ear. And they shot it, and George Lucas liked it, so he just left it. So only people that are really, really close at looking at it can see it. And then I noticed that Dave Filoni put that in Rebels. He has Darth Maul, like it showed a close-up face, and he has the earring in his ear. And I was just like, dude, man, I love Dave Filoni. He just cares so much about detail and about the lore and everything like that.
Yeah.
Just amazing. But yeah, that's all I've been. I got a cool shirt. I don't know if you guys on stream can see it. It's a Mandalorian shirt by our friend Suicide Fox. It's a fantastic shirt. I love it.
Pictures on Twitter.
Yeah, it
Pictures
says
on
Dinjarin bounty hunting and babysitting. It's like perfect.
Nice.
It's perfect. There's a link in the chat if you guys want to go help out an indie artist right there. But other than that, guys, that's it. Just waiting for Cyberpunk. That's it. Oh.
I feel like something else happened today, though. Maybe we'll talk about it later.
I
Maybe
don't
we'll talk
think
about it
so.
now. Actually.
I don't, no, we're gonna go. Okay, I thought about this for
Okay,
tonight, and I think we should do bad news first and end on the fun stuff.
That's
That
what
way,
I meant. The bad
That
news.
makes- that makes
I was
Yeah.
segueing into the bad news.
the bad news is, for some of you guys who don't know, is well, I don't know if I can really call it bad news, more than just like shocking news.
Shocking. Yeah.
There was a big announcement by Bioware that Mark and Casey are leaving Bioware, and those are, for you guys who don't know, Mark was he was doing everything for Dragon Age 4.
Dragon Age.
And
yeah.
Casey was the head guy for BioWare with all the stuff with BioWare and mostly Mass Effect. And it's like it's crazy because with all this change, Christian, who was heading up Anthem 2.0, is now moving into a different role. So I don't even know what that means for Anthem 2.0. So it feels shocking. What did you guys think when you read? And I'll put the links in the chat for you guys if y'all want to read them. But yeah, what do you think about all this stuff?
I was shocked too. I mean, my initial reaction was like, wait a second. Normally we can say, hey, you know, good for them, move on to bigger and better. The games left behind should be fine. This time I didn't feel that way. I was like, so what does that mean for what's being made?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it kind of put a damper and a funk on the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But you guys are bigger Bioware fans than I am, so I'll pass the torch.
I'm a Bethesda guy, so
Yes, you are.
I want to
Well, I
hear what
know-
Lupo has to say.
I know Rad and Lupo have a lot.
All right.
Like
So-
Lupo, it has the anthem and the whole thing.
So I feel like a major milestone was missed. That's my only explanation for what happened, is that something happened with Dragon Age, with development of Dragon Age, that a major milestone was missed. And the only way to show any sort of urgency with getting them back on track is this move. You know, like if everything was fine, I don't think we'd be talking about like losing the executive producer and GM of the studio. Something bad happened. Now, if you look at the wording
So you think they were forced to retire?
oh, absolutely.
Oh, you look at
Absolutely.
Mark's message at the end.
Yeah.
Look at the way it's worded. It wasn't worded like, you know, I'm moving on to other things. Like this is
like when Deej left. It wasn't like I had this opportunity. It was like I don't know what's happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
They'll land on their feet. Like I think that either one of them are going to go to Improbable or Archetype, which are former Bioware as it is already. Like so, Improbable is run by Aaron Flynn, who is the former GM of Bioware.
Okay.
And Archetype, I forget the one. It's one of the writers. He worked on Dragon Age, Baldur's Gate, a little bit of Anthem. It starts with no James O. Forget his name, but he's one of the main guys at Archetype. So I think both of them are going to end up there, one of those places. But this is definitely a reactionary move of saying like they are not where they need to be with Dragon Age right now. And for the people that think that Dragon Age is going to launch like in 2022, do not expect that anytime soon. Like, do not expect that reality right now. Like, 2024, easy. Like, this is easily push that back another 2 years. And not because people aren't talented or able to. And I think Christian could do a great job of like writing the ship, but it just does not spell good things. And like I'll like echo what T said. You know, usually I'm like, this is no big deal. You know, there's a lot of people working there, this, that, and the other thing. But this time, no. I honestly can't say with a straight face that like I really feel confident about anything that BioWare is working on except for Mass Effect. Honestly.
Yeah.
And that's probably because it's almost done.
Well, all right. Here's a couple other things that like I really looked at when going into this whole thing. So there were multiple people that responded to Mark Dara on Twitter. Like someone said that they would walk into moving traffic for him. You know, you don't say that about somebody who doesn't do their job well or isn't respected by their peers, you know. So this is something where things just aren't happening, and it could be circumstances. It just could be circumstances of like what everything's been going on this year that like it's just really difficult to make a game in 2020. You know, like Cyberpunk's been postponed 3 times this year. You know, like not even like years prior or anything like that. Like just this in the last 2 quarters, it's been delayed twice. You know, so it's
that's 7 days.
Shut up.
I don't want to jinx it. I just want to jinx it because I know other people are talking about it, but it's really telling of the whole situation just by how other people are reacting to these moves, because very well respected people. I don't think one person said a bad thing about Mark Dara or Casey Hudson. So to see this happen is a shock to a lot of people. I saw people that are close to the project say like, what the hell just happened? You know, so I think the other big important thing is with Christian Daly now being the executive producer on Dragon Age, that pretty much pulls the plug on Anthem, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they're probably done with Anthem.
Yeah.
I think that's literally the end. Like in Casey's blog, he seemed kind of optimistic that they were going to continue to work it out. But I just don't feel good about it at this point. I really don't. I think Mass Effect's in good hands. I do think that Mass Effect's in good hands. Mike Gamble has been like overseeing Mass Effect for the last several years. Basically since the end of 3. So he oversaw some of the production of Andromeda. So the project lead on Legendary Collection is Mac Walters, and Mac Walters has been there from the beginning. So I feel very good about that. But Mike Gamble really has a great head on his shoulders. Really knows like the direction they want to take Mass Effect, and I feel good about that. But like Anthem, I don't feel good. Like Anthem was one of my most played games last year. I would love to see that really take a turn and come back in full force, but I just do not feel good about it at this point.
Yeah, I think it's dead too, man. I think it's done.
I think, I joke around a lot about like, oh, I hate Anthem because it ruined Andromeda, and I just say that's a piss Lupo off. But I think actually, if Anthem had the impact that Mass Effect or Dragon Age did, there would be more, urgency to keep it alive. But I think that because even if it had the my gosh, I'm like losing my words tonight, capacity to be, really good, which it did have, that it just didn't. It was like Andromeda. It just didn't launch well. It didn't, live very well. And then it's just like, now with this happening, like, where do we put our resources? And if I'm a company, I am always kind of listing like, if I were a business, here what I do. Thanks for that, Gene, Dad. I would, if I was BioWare, I would say, yeah, I'm going to put it in my opinion, I'm going to put it in Mass Effect first. I think, I could be wrong, but I think Mass Effect probably has a bigger fan base than Dragon Age. I could be incorrect about that, but I think that Mass Effect has more of a draw. And then I would put it in that first, just like you're saying, Lupo. Like, I think Mass Effect's probably okay. And then Dragon Age is really like the one that's, is it going to be okay? We're not really quite sure. We hope it can be, for the sake of Dragon Age and BioWare. Someone in a lot of shared communities who we all know, our friend Truth, he was like, if Dragon Age goes bad, it's going to be bad for BioWare is going to be absolutely done.
Yeah, they have to do well.
And Truth was one of the only people today I saw was like, this is the greatest thing that could happen to BioWare. I was like, okay. But like, it's just, sometimes the upheaval and a rehaul, is that the word I'm looking for? I think so. Is kind of like what a studio may need. So it's, I think that putting all of their energy into those big titles is either what is going to keep them alive, or they're just going to go down with their ship. That's what's going to happen. So
I just found it interesting that Casey Hudson mentioned that, like, their continued support of SWTOR, Anthem, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and new Mass Effect, that he mentioned that. What I think may have been happening is because, if y'all remember the backlash they got for like crunch from Jason, I'm not even going to say his full name because I don't want to give him publicity. But when he, because I know for a fact that he was gunning for BioWare. I know for a fact with that, some of the stuff that he talked about was conflated. I don't want to say much more about it, but there probably was some crunch there, but not to the degree that he talked about in his articles. And when Casey was there, I think that kind of stung him a little bit because he was in command. And I think with COVID, he probably pulled back the reins a little bit and said, look, we're going to just, it's family first, and then push this as quick as we can. But I think the execs on the top, like you were saying, Lupo, just were like, this ain't going to cut it, because they're feeling the crunch, and axed them. Like, you've been here long enough. Let's get fresh blood in. Let's just move you out. And what I think possibly what could happen, I don't know if it would with Anthem, is that maybe Jesse, who's one of the head community guys with BioWare and EA Austin, might move to Anthem. I don't know if AJ or the other new community manager, I don't even really know the new community manager at Anthem that well, and that's sad because I'm a game changer. Like, he seldom converses with us at all, so I'm just putting that out there. But it just makes me a little sad because, like, even us game changers are left in the dark. We don't know what's going to happen. This was kind of a slap in the face for content creators that want to support Anthem. And now we have no idea. Like, I feel really bad for our friend William, your Anthem, because like that's his thing. Yeah. That's his thing. You know, I know he's branching out to other stuff, but still, like, that's his thing. And like, I don't know, man. It just makes me wonder if, like, maybe, like you said, Lupo, someone from the top came in and just crunched them all and cut them. And it makes me sad because I feel like Casey Hudson was probably the right guy to have there. I felt like he was doing good things for BioWare, but I don't know. You know, unfortunately, when it comes, and many people know this, and it's cliche, but it is what it is. Business is business at the end of the day, you know. And BioWare is a studio that has been on the chopping block and really scrutinized for a long time.
you guys probably know better than I do. I think that may have even started with Mass Effect 3, even though it was really well received. But like certainly with Andromeda, for many people, Anthem was people really loved it, but it was kind of a letdown. I think we saw somebody else in our community saying today it was a great game, but there just like wasn't anything once you got to the end. There's just like nothing to do, and they've just been, when you're getting scrutinized like that from every direction, something has to happen, and that sounds like what they're doing.
I think Christian was making great progress. Some of the things he was teasing really excited me for Anthem, and I really hope they don't axe it, but I feel like they might do it. I feel like the upper management is going to be like, no, let's pour our resources in a Dragon Age. It has to succeed.
Right.
What was it? Dragon Age Inquisition got Game of the Year, right? So it's like, they have a lot
to follow
that
on Dragon Age. It needs to be good. It has to be good.
They have to follow that. Yeah.
Yep. And that's exactly right. And it sucks for people like your Anthem and people. Certainly, when I think of Anthem, I think of Lupo for real. Like, and I know that that's a big part of your brand, if you will. Like, so it's upsetting, but it's just, I hate it. It's business.
Yours the first Anthem podcast out there?
Me? No. Codex was.
Yeah. His was the first live.
Codex was, I was
live.
the first
There
live.
we go.
Yeah, first
I need
live.
to
And
refer
only on
something.
Mixer.
Yeah.
Mixer.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Freelancer Codex, like they're still the longest running Anthem podcast.
But they've kind of branched out as well. They've kind of branched out into other things. So, I mean, because you can't really talk about, there's nothing really to talk about with Anthem.
No, there's not. Like, and it's like with Anthem, it's like once a month. But I mean, we digress at this point. It's it's really like just no words. No words. Like I'm more than anything else. Like I'm a Bioware fan. I love pretty much everything that they've done. Like I haven't finished all the Dragon Age games, but I've played thousands of hours of Mass Effect. I've played hundreds of hours of Anthem, and literally some of my favorite gaming experiences. And like to see them go like. To not even to see them, like to think about the potential of what's going on right now is just so disheartening as like a fan. It's like
well, anytime you have teams broke up by leadership, you're going to have a chaotic moment on the teams, and I think that can really make or break a studio, because now you're going to have people that are going to feel like they need to take sides. And I don't know, it may cause a lot of friction. May not be a lot of good morale in the studio, which is sad, because Lupo, I agree, man. I mean, BioWare is by far one of my favorite studios, man. Just by far.
It would be, I would 100% like cry if BioWare was like, we're done, we're not making any more games, we're not telling any more stories. Like, I mean, that would be heartbreaking. I've shared certainly on the podcast with you guys behind the scenes, like Mass Effect is one of the most important fictional stories to happen to me. I'm like getting emotional thinking about it, and like I understand that at some point it's going to end, but it would be really, really upsetting if this was how it ended, especially. And I know we've already talked about like Mass Effect feels safe, but I mean, like you just said, Mule, with these changes like this, it's almost like you're on quicksand, right? Like you don't know where you're going to step, or if this is going to make, this go under, whatever. So it would just really be disheartening if, oh yeah, it seems like it's going to go great, and then everything like crumbled, and then that was the end. It would be that would be really sad. That would be a bummer.
So. 100% agree.
This has all been a bummer. Talking about BioWare. Any other thoughts before we move on to something more exciting? Any other thoughts?
Just one little note that I've been thinking about, like with this today, since this has all happened. Like, I don't remember who I had a conversation with this recently, but we were talking about how, kind of going back to Destiny. Destiny is like the looter shooter right now, and sadly, like looking at this, how this is, Anthem, unfortunately, is kind of going the way of the Division, which also kind of tried to be the next looter shooter. And I'm very sad because I really liked Anthem, and I was really liking where it was going. I was really excited for 2.0. Hopefully it's still, I'm still hoping it comes out. But it's kind of hard when they're trying to mimic something that's already doing so well.
Yeah.
And then with all this, with losing some people, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, they just gotta protect Dragon Age. That's their biggest IP right now, I think. Just because how the latest Mass Effect did.
Little of a Dragon Age fan as I am, and as big of an Anthem fan, just in comparing the two, I would be completely fine if they dropped Anthem just so that they can get Dragon Age out.
Yeah,
because they need that, and then they also need the Mass Effect remastered. Which
I mean, luckily that still seems like it's coming out, which is
pretty much
good
almost
for them.
done. Yeah,
but I still like that. To me, that's like, is that the Mass Effect finale? We'll see. Mm-hmm. I know they said that we're still working on the new game, but I'm cautiously optimistic, as my dad used to say. Hope for the best and expect the worst. So
they got to protect it. Yeah,
that's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's get into more exciting news and get a little more upbeat here. We were sad. Now we're going to end on the high notes here, and we'll talk Mando before we go into Cyberpunk. But the Mandalorian, the last episode, the Jedi. If you're listening, guys, there's going to be spoilers.
Another
level.
Yeah, Prime.
Oh wait, before we start, can I do a spelling lesson, please?
Oh, do you really? Do we need to go over this?
I just wanted to say it for
I'm telling you, my phone autocorrects AHSOKA.
The only reason I believe you is because Nate said that happened to him as well, and I trust Nate. So
yes.
I believe you. But AHSOKA is spelled AHSOKA.
See, fake did it wrong in the chat too. So it's
AHSOKA.
Even Star Wars, bro.
So what do you guys think? I mean, Prime, you said whole nother level. What'd you think, man?
This is the first episode that I watched more than once, and with a good reason, because it was stinking good from the very first minute to the very last minute. I was like, no, yes, no. Then the big thing happened. The name drop happened. The theories that spun out from there. Woo, baby. I'm not on the same level as Mule, as Star Wars fandism, but I felt a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Was there a whistle in your jimmies?
There was whistle in my jimmies. No,
Russell.
I had the vapors. I watched it with my brother and my husband and my dad, which my dad is like, he will watch things with us that we like, and he's like seen Star Wars and like knows the story. But at one point, my brother and I, like after the name drop, I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And my brother was like, blah, blah, blah. My husband was like, blah. And then and my dad was like, you guys really know what's happening here, right? And we're like, shut up. It's fine. Just sit here and enjoy the lady. Like, it's fine. It was a great episode. And my brother, who is friends of Mulehorn, Ted, he knows way more Star Wars than I do. So I looked over at him. Could we say the name drop? It was, we said spoilers.
I said spoilers,
It was Thrawn. My brother, I looked over at him, and he's like read the book. He's watched, Rebels and Clone Wars and like all
his eyes like this.
He was like, Rachel. And I was like, yeah, I know who he is. I know less than you, but I know. Like, it was wonderful. I mean, I've watched Clone Wars, so like I'm a big AHSOKA fan, and so she came on the screen, and I was like, oh. Hi.
Before we get into this week's episode, I had a theory about last week's episode that I wanted to bring up with Mule. Haven't gotten a chance to because we obviously didn't have him last week. I know bits and pieces of the old Thrawn lore from the books, but I'm sure Mule will remember that the Thrawn's troopers they carried around like that little creature that could block the Force.
You know
what I'm talking about?
When you're asking me about Thrawn, I've only read his comics. I have not read his books, so I really don't know much on Thrawn. But I do know from the Jedi Path book that there are specific creatures that can nullify the Force.
Yeah. So, like, I think one of the books. I mean, we might have to talk to Anchor about this. She would know for sure. She could probably pull open the book right in front of her. But there was something about like they would carry these little mink type creatures that around their necks, and the previous episode had that little mink that they were I forget her name, the shock trooper rescued. And I was just wondering if maybe that was a tie-in to that.
I don't think they're going to bring anything from like that's non-canon into the Star Wars universe. I think most of the stuff that they would bring in that's Legends is going to be from Old Republic era. I don't think they're going to bring in too much more.
I didn't think that maybe like that was like actually one of those creatures, but maybe just a little more like a Camptono type thing. Little Easter egg type thing.
Hey, Camptono.
Yeah. But there were some amazing Easter eggs in this episode. I don't know if you guys caught it. I want to hear what Lupo, what did you think, man?
I'm just waiting for you to say something about the Rey versus Ahsoka thing and just to piss me off.
Oh, I'm gonna get into that. No, just yeah.
One kind of
one time I'll agree with him.
Go ahead, Lupo.
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just saying, why can't we have both?
We can.
At the same time?
We have both, but Ahsoka's better.
It's not really an argument. There's more backstory. There's more lore. There's more everything. There's more character development.
Mule?
I just like, Mule. Here's the thing with Mule. He has these hot takes. I don't have much to say about
hold
them.
on. Hot takes.
But when he says hot take, Ahsoka is better than Rey. The whole world.
It's not
like
really
this.
a hot take. It's like a.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's some people that believe that Rey is much better.
That's more like
apparently it's a very much a minority that disagrees.
No, because I mean, there's an argument to be had with that because Rey is very powerful in the Force.
I agree with you, but I think most people are going to be like, "What's the hot take?" And the way you wrote it on Twitter, man, I was like, "Listen, this is too good."
It's like
I can't make the joke, but I was like, "What's the hot take here, man?" Like we're all. I think we agree. I don't know what to tell you. But it was
my
funny.
sarcasm meter's like, it's like, oh, Mule, come on, too easy.
Yeah. I had two people be like, "What you wrote is what I was thinking." I don't know what his hot take was.
So back to the initial question, what I think of this episode. Can we stop calling him baby fucking Yoda, please? I am tired of baby Yoda. It never was baby Yoda. It never will be baby Yoda, and it's not baby Yoda ever. Stop.
Yeah.
Get some help.
Officially not baby Yoda now.
But he'll forever be
no
baby Yoda
relation.
in our hearts.
He has no relation to Yoda.
Yeah.
That we know of.
That we know of right now. I mean, there's a lot of.
As far as the theories that were going around that he was a clone of Yoda.
No, they already put that to bed in season 1. They were talking about how he wasn't bioengineered or strand cast or any of that.
Yeah. But Grogu, fine, we'll say.
I just like when people run with bad information, and just kind of like make it a thing, and it's just gone on too long at this point. But I think the episode is very, very good. It was interesting to see, like, at first Ahsoka's like, oh yeah, let's train him, and then she sees like how the reactions between Din and Grogu, and she's like, no, we can't do this. She's like, I saw this one time before, and I ain't doing that again. I was stuck in between on that one, but this
rest in peace.
We ain't gonna do this time, So it was like eye opening to see like the threads, get connected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I watched, go ahead.
Go ahead. That's all right. Okay.
When I was watching that first episode, I mean, because I'm not giving fan service here, because this is something that even my wife, because we're rewatching Rebels together, and she's seen Ahsoka in Rebels, and she even looked at me last night when we were watching, and she goes, "Man, Rosario Dawson nailed Ahsoka.
Killed it.
Her mannerisms in her face."
110%.
Her looks, the way she moved. When I was watching it for the first time, like physically, my body was like this. But inside, I was like, "Oh my gosh! Look at this! Oh my like, it was just freaking amazing. Like, just amazing the way that she, like, pulled it off. Like, totally.
She did a great job.
Like,
She
even
did
the
her
little
homework
smile.
and then some.
Oh yeah, for sure. There is one of my favorite shows is a show called Orphan Black that came out in 2013, and the main actress in that show, actually, she got cast as She-Hulk. Her name's Tatiana Maslany. She plays like 15 different characters in that show. And one of the things that I really liked from that show is that even though she was the same woman playing a bunch of different characters, I never remembered that it was the same woman playing a bunch of different characters. And ever since I watched that show, I've been kind of a pretentious jerk about watching TV shows. I'm like, can I forget that this is the actor playing it? Because sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. I did not ever once think that I was watching Rosario Dawson do anything.
No.
I was like, this is Ahsoka. This is Ahsoka. Who is this woman? It's Ahsoka. Like, and that is a gift. Not every actor, I mean, every actor's, most people are pretty good and I would never take that away from them. But when you can do what she did, like, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, she killed it. She came on the screen and I was like, boop, that's Ahsoka. I mean, it was just great.
I mean, just like even the way she pulled, like Dark was saying in the chat, like when she pulled about the sabers, she does that in Rebels and Clone Wars.
Yeah, she ignites them.
and
she did her homework.
Pulls them apart as she ignites them.
100%.
Yeah,
she was great.
One thing I wanted to bring up that others probably knows this, but something interesting that I thought that obviously through the other Star Wars films, the Force is very mystical and we see it in its actions and we hear it. I noticed something about this episode. We never hear the Force. We never really see its effects because the Mandalorian is through the eyes of the Mandalorian, not through the Jedi and the Skywalker lineage.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool, like tones, like he can't see or hear them communicating with each other, so the audience isn't going to get to see that.
That's great. That's a really good observation. Yeah.
Like they're just when
great.
Ahsoka and Grogu are talking with each other through the Force, is dead silent.
Yeah.
Because
Mando was just pacing too, man. He was not
he's sitting there like, what's going on? Like they're just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah. I think that's one of my favorite parts about Mandalorian. I think I mentioned it before. It's just like a drop in the bucket, right? Like, yeah, it goes back into the main, Skywalker saga, of course, now with Ahsoka there, but it's a drop in the bucket. Like, this is just a story in the Mass Effect. Oh, sorry. This is a story in the Star Wars universe, like it could be anything. And I think that certainly in, oh my God, the name of the movie is Last Jedi, right? Yeah. Sorry. At the end when it's like that kid who is like sweeping or whatever he's doing, and he's like, the Force, it's kind of just like a reminder that like this is not just the Skywalkers, right? Like there's a million
massive
stories
universe
to be told.
Yeah.
So I really like that about that. And I think other shows that are, I think there's others that have been confirmed or anything that's going to happen in the future that's not related directly to Skywalker saga is just going to keep taking this kind of like just a drop in the bucket. And I think that's great for a universe like this.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at Dave Filoni and the care that he takes in the Star Wars universe and the Easter eggs that he puts in these episodes, like the Loth Cat, the HK assassin droids.
The Loth Cat again. I was really excited about that. I was like, it's perfect to go. And the owl.
Yeah, the owl. Yeah,
I forget
Morai.
what her name is.
Yeah, Morai. For you guys that don't know, in Clone Wars, there was a Mortis arc where Anakin goes to this planet that's like basically endued with the Force, and these three beings that are probably the most powerful beings in the universe is the father, son, and the daughter. And the father controls the balance; he can control both the light and the dark. And the whole arc goes to where the dark side son kills Ahsoka, and the daughter, who's the embodiment of the light, gives up her energy and her life force to bring her back to life and save her. And so now she kind of is represented kind of like Kanan is in Rebels with the wolf, but she's representative now in Morai, like the owl that followed her around when they were on Mortis.
Yep.
Of course, they don't remember most of this because the father wiped their minds from them when it happened. But it's really interesting because I feel like it makes Ahsoka even more pure. Like she's very representative, I guess you could say, of a very pure ideology of how a Force user should be.
It even shows in her sabers too, how they're white, pure.
Well, yeah. Well, part of that's because she healed them because they were red. Because she killed a brother, one of the Inquisitors that tried to kill her before when she left the Order. But she took the kyber crystals because they were calling to her, and she healed them, and they turned white. But
it's because she's a gray Jedi, right? She's gray, yeah.
Oh my gosh! Don't even start with this.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I saw Dark in the chat.
But like Dark asked if Boba Fett is going to appear again. I don't think he is because Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau talked about this season being a season of world building. So I think what they're doing is using this season to introduce other characters. Because we know there's going to be a Boba Fett series. We know there's probably going to be an Ahsoka series. We know there's going to be an Obi-Wan series. So maybe, I mean, with the Thrall name drop and the AK assassin droids, Ezra is potentially still out there. If Thrawn's still out there.
Who are the assassin droids? I don't think
Those were the two droids with the matriarch
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Some of that stuff I'm not really up to snuff with, but
those are the two droids that were with Thrawn and Rebels, and they tried to use those two droids and reprogram them to assassinate Thrawn.
So it's just a question: when you saw those two droids, like before the Thrawn name drop, did you have a suspicion when you were watching it that Thrawn was going to come up?
Okay. Oh yeah, and so I think that
people who have watched that, they would say, "Ooh." They would know. Like I have not watched Rebels, so I wouldn't.
I think she's probably working with Thrawn. And I think Gideon might be connected with Thrawn somehow as well.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So I think they may all be kind of working in conjunction. Because Thrawn, for most people who don't know, he originated from unknown regions of space. So, and that's where Exegol is, where the Emperor is right now, in the unknown regions of space. So anybody that would know those areas would be Thrawn. And so I think maybe they're all working in conjunction together. Maybe they're all part of this thing. And also something that's significant, guys, I don't know if you knew about this, but Tython, the planet that they're going to, is the original planet that the Jedi, or the Jedi, as they used to be called, Order started on. That's where they're going. Oh. And there's that planet, and it's very, very powerful in the Force, and there's two different moons. There's the Ashla and the Bogan moon. Ashla being the light, the Bogan being the dark side. And that planet is very sensitive to the Force. And if you're not balanced when you go on that planet, it creates these massive Force storms that literally killed citizens that were there. So they had to take all the citizens off the planet and only have Jedi there. And if they swayed one too far on the light, they would go to Bogan and meditate to get balance. If they swayed too far on the dark, they would go to Ashla and meditate to get balance and then come back to the home planet. So it's going to be interesting if maybe some of that comes into play, because we know Gideon is tracking them. So
right, they didn't even bring that up.
I honestly, I don't even think that they're going to get to the planet. I think they're going to get intercepted, or I think that Grogu's not even going to get put on the platform to reach out with the Force. I think that it's going to eventually just kind of get busted, and he's just going to end up staying with Mando. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they gotta make it last, so something like that's probably gonna happen.
And something else they changed in lore that's really interesting is Beskar was probably one of the strongest metals in the Star Wars universe, in that it could deflect glancing blows from lightsabers, but a sustained strike, it could usually cut through it. But they changed that a little bit and made Beskar a little stronger, because when he's fighting Ahsoka, when Din's fighting Ahsoka, and his two gauntlets, he holds it for a while.
Yeah.
And then when Ahsoka fights the matriarch with the spear, so I think what they're going to show is he's going to be fighting someone with a lightsaber, maybe the dark saber, at the end of the season.
That's what I was going to say. I must have read it in your chat, probably. But, you know.
You read my mind.
Yeah. It was a great episode. I think the only other thing that I saw sort of us all talking about that I think is speculation for sure. I know we don't like to do that too much, but the thing that I saw, I don't remember if it was Fake who wrote it, or if it was you, Mule, but I love the idea. And again, I don't have much knowledge on Ezra, but I think it would be really cool if when Grogu, you're welcome, Lupo, gets to that planet, and they put him on the altar. It's Ezra who reaches out and kind of connects with Grogu. I think I liked that theory a lot. It may not be true. My brother
me
wants
too.
it to be Luke, and I was like, they can't pay Mark Hamill, but
Uh,
my brother really wants it to like all come together, but I don't think it will. But that would be really cool if it was Ezra, and then that's how they connected. Like, oh, we gotta find Ezra. Like that.
I want it to be Ezra or Cal Kestis. Honestly, I don't want
that
Luke
would be cool
yet.
too.
But we know Luke is going around the galaxy trying to find Jedi right now and find Jedi artifacts.
And
so,
that's yeah.
Maybe they get Sebastian Stan and he comes in. I don't know. Maybe he can play the young Luke. Yeah. Hamill's already approved of it. He already said he'd be happy to have him play a young Luke. So
He looks pretty much similar to him.
oh yeah.
Wait, you said Sebastian Stan?
Yeah.
Is that who you said? Oh.
Yeah. The guy that played Winter Soldier.
Oh no, I know who Sebastian Stan is. Oh, I know. Is it hot in here?
Yeah.
yeah, we had to talk about that on an episode long time ago.
But I don't think it'll be Ezra though. Now that I think about it, because like Ahsoka's asking where Thrawn is, and if they haven't found Thrawn, then they probably haven't found Ezra yet. Yeah.
Yeah,
But maybe it's like I don't know how that whole altar thing works, but maybe it's like his energy, and then they're like, "Oh, Ezra's alive. Let's go."
True. I mean,
Find
Luke
him.
used one on Octu to project himself across the galaxy. So yeah.
You guys heard it here first.
Could be interesting because the whole instance of Ahsoka saying that she wouldn't train Grogu because she was worried that he'd lead down a darker path. And
Because of Anakin.
we know
Yeah.
Ezra struggles with that.
Yeah.
So if they were to
Oh,
connect, that could be interesting
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And I think the thing that's going to be interesting is that with Ezra, he definitely was tempted by the dark side, but he's resisted. He's definitely resisted it.
But he's had inklings.
Oh yeah. I mean, he opened
it
up a Sith holocron. So
Yeah. That and the fact that he can just his ability to communicate with the creatures
Right.
that are light
Yeah.
and dark.
yeah.
And the fact that he's used them for not so light things before.
Yeah.
It kind of just, when I thought about that, I was like, if he did interact with Ezra, I don't think that would work as well. I think it would have to be someone more pure. I mean, for all we know, if he does connect, it could be Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
It's an inkling.
Yeah.
Well,
it could
I
be.
mean,
I guess.
Obi's a Force ghost, so I doubt it. You know, he
I
did.
mean, Rey talked to all the other Jedi that were already ghosts.
Yeah, but
Anakin should have been a ghost.
She kind of learned some of that special training from some of the older Jedi texts. So, and how powerful her connection is to the Force. We don't really know how powerful Grogu is.
But see, Grogu has direct connection. Well, I would say Grogu has a little bit more connection because he's probably met most of those Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely trained under all those masters, but it doesn't necessarily mean inherently that he would be powerful or that Yoda taught him how to do it. Because it's definitely like you have to learn how to commune with the Force to see Force spirits and things like that. We're getting into this super deep lore right now.
Wait, I have one last thing to say about Star Wars. Justice for Yaddle. I don't know what happened there, but Ahsoka's all like, I only knew one other of this kind. Yaddle existed. She was there, and I think that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was talking with Lupo about that. I was like, what happened with Yaddle?
She
left the Order before the Clone Wars. Yeah.
Did she really?
Yeah, she left because she felt like the Jedi were going down the wrong path.
You know what? Good for you.
Left.
Ahsoka,
GG, lady. This one's for you.
So Ahsoka may have ran into her, but it's
actually she wouldn't have, because didn't she come like we saw Yaddle in episode 1, right?
Episode 1, I don't think we saw her in episode 2. Is a different council.
No, so let's just say that she left before Ahsoka got there.
Yeah.
So, all right, question answered.
Yeah, we don't know exactly how long Ahsoka was a Padawan before, or a youngling before she became Anakin's Padawan.
Sure.
But we know Yoda probably trained Grogu because he trained all the younglings that were in the temple. So
that's true as well.
All right, guys. So moving on. Cyberpunk, real quick. The hype is here. It's real. What are you looking forward to the most? Go.
The thing I'm looking forward to most is not appropriate for this podcast, so I'm not going to say it, but I'll say it in a really appropriate way, which is the augmentation that you can give to your character, regardless of what gender you assign to them. So I am really looking forward to just messing around with that. Listen, it's a video game. Like, let's
She
just
wants tops and bottoms. Nice.
I want tops and bottoms, baby. Let's go. No, for real though. Like before the cast started, Thad and I were joking. Like I get to start playing on PC at like 7 p.m. on next Wednesday, and he gets to start at 12 midnight. And I was like, I'm still going to be in character customization, you know, when you log in. So I'm really just looking forward to just like deep diving into a true like RPG experience where you get to make your own character, just like the whole thing. I live for these kinds of games. Like it's just absolutely, I can't wait. I literally said to somebody the other day, like I can't wait to like not play Destiny daily, which is like no disrespect to Destiny. I'm just like ready for a new thing. Like that's why I give tons of respect to Crow, who's like, I play all these different things. I'm like, man, I wish I had the motivation to play other things. And it feels, stop looking at me. I know I have to finish Ghost. It feels like really good to be like motivated to want to play something.
Yeah.
I just say it now because I know
Neil
you're
has
thinking
no
it.
room to talk. Neil has
What are you
no
talking about,
room
man?
to talk.
I've finished so many games this year.
You know what he didn't finish ever?
Valhalla.
3.
One of the greatest games of all time. Probably one of maybe the greatest game of all time.
If I could take my digital version and trade it in towards something else, I would.
We're talking about
So-
The Witcher 3, by the way, everyone. We can't let this go. We can't let this go. But
Such
I'm
a
very,
shame.
I'm very excited for Cyberpunk.
Thank you, Dart.
And
Overhyped.
I'm looking forward to writing the review on it. Like just being able to play. I took off work, so I don't work next Thursday or Friday.
Whoop, whoop.
My parents are coming. We're getting a new bed. We bought a bed on Black Friday. I feel very adult, and it's coming over. It's coming over. It's not coming over. It's staying here on the 12th. And my parents are coming over that day, and I'm like, I might be like malnourished and like have not
Gonna need
showered.
that bed.
Like, I just want you guys to know you might see me in a state rarely seen. And they were like, what the hell are you talking about? And I like had to explain, and they were like, you're a 30-year-old woman. What are you doing? Don't judge me. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
You know,
Yeah.
I just want to say this about Cyberpunk, and I'm putting it in chat. Somebody here said they were sold. There's a tweet for you, so you can read it for yourself. I'm not totally convinced I need to play Cyberpunk yet. Lupo.
I watched 2 hours of videos today, and I'm still not convinced.
Oh, so give me the
Actually,
dirt, dude.
I'm really curious. Yeah, why not?
Yes, please go on.
It's not. So I like things where you're far escaped. Cyberpunk is 50 years in the future.
Sure.
That's not
Okay.
that's not far enough for me.
That's fair.
It's honestly, it just looks like high tech GTA to me.
Oh,
Okay.
dang.
I don't like GTA.
Yeah,
Sure.
so
Wrong.
It's interesting
Wrong.
you said that, actually, because I'm kind of the same way. Like that's why I like Mass Effect. That's why I like Skyrim. That's why I like Witcher. Like it's not anything like super real. And I actually feel like with Night City, it's like I don't think in 2077 that's what our society is going to be like yet. So
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, this is far enough like into the abstract that I can play it. But I get what you're saying for sure. Like especially if you like that far off thing, I would probably be like, meh. Whatever.
Beyond that, it's like the power fantasy of it. Like I just don't think it offers enough power fantasy for me to really be like, oh, all right, this is dramatically different than playing like a shooter. Like I've played so much Call of Duty over the last like 10 years that I need something so dramatically different than like normal.
and we had a conversation about this earlier
Neil.
today about like Lupo and Underdog were talking, and he was asking us why we were interested in it. Like, what is it that's selling it on us? And Lupo and I have had a conversation before that he is not as into the slower paced RPGs. Like he wants the fast paced action.
Yeah.
I like the slower stuff.
Yeah.
And to me, this game is a mixture of Skyrim and Deus Ex.
Yep.
You get the world kind of building of Skyrim, and then you get the kind of future tech stuff of like Deus Ex. Like it's still grounded in reality, but techie and futury enough for me that I'm interested.
Yeah.
That's why
It's a
I'm
good
liking it too, because it's going to be less actual like GTA. I've been reading, listening lately, and people are saying you'll be if you're thinking you're going to play GTA coming to this, you're going to be disappointed. It's more of the drama, decision making, relationship, not just romantic building, and world building like Mass Effect. There's going to be less shooting, less action. You can go in and do that. You can go in and go on a killing spree, but you're probably going to get your butt kicked pretty quick because you have to go in to do things, very selective on how you engage, very selective on how your tactics are. But that's just kind of the side thing. It's the drama, the decisions, the RPG elements from every aspect of your character to your weapons. It's a shooter second. It's an RPG first, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Like Crow, I love the slower paced RPGs.
Yeah.
I mean, I could get
Man.
The Witcher, 307 hours. Every freaking hour, I loved it. And the only part I skipped was one area that had too many discoverable areas, like Skellig Islands. Like
Skellige.
there's just too many. I can't.
Too many things, and they're like spots in the water that you can't do anything. By the way,
and like I'm already way overpowered than loot that's going to be there. I'm like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
So, but being future tech, not so far fetched in the future, like you said, Rad. I'm really pumped to get into this and just get lost in the world. Make some crazy decisions. Ruin some lives, ruin my own life, like my own character. How blindly can I go into this before I start going to YouTube? Like, okay, where did I mess up at? Because I screwed myself.
Well,
how big of a beard are you gonna have?
I was
the biggest.
The biggest. I was gonna say it'll be interesting.
Where's your beard gonna be?
Yes.
I decline to answer.
It's gonna be a chrome beard.
Exactly. I don't decline to answer. I was gonna say it'll be interesting, Lupo, for me, just because I value your take on gaming, to see if after like more things come out and you have a good way to be like, let me take a look at, without maybe spoiling yourself, but like let me take a look at the story, or like see if it maybe
I'm
does
not uninterested. I'm not uninterested, but this like level of
is
oh my god, I have to lay it right now.
Infatuation that people have with a game that doesn't exist yet.
Sure.
You ready? I'm going to stir the pot since you just said that.
Let's shut you down in about 5 seconds after you say it.
What it all is a bunch of Witcher 3 fanboys that are hyping it up. And it's just going to be a very slow-paced Red Dead Redemption 2.0. That's basically what it's going to be in the future.
Is that the best you got?
Is that the best? Like that?
It's going to be too slow, man.
It's
going to be too slow.
Just so that everybody, who's listening and watching this right now, that was a Mulehorn hot take. That's what it actually is.
Here's my counter with 2 words: Keanu Reeves.
That's not a good enough of a counter, but I think that is unfair. Like, we don't actually know what the game's going to be like. You know what I mean? Like, Witcher was actually pretty slow. I think that's why I remember some people saying they didn't finish it. Mule.
That's what worries me, honestly.
Yeah, except
you didn't get out of the tutorial.
But you're in the minority, right? Like, everybody else thinks it's one of the greatest games of all time. So
there's quite a few people that don't like Witcher. Honestly,
it's the same amount of people who think Rey is better than Ahsoka. So it's like
just because they're not in your circle doesn't mean they're not there.
GIF and not a GIF, but they're just wrong.
I will not.
You just don't know English. That's okay.
Confirm or deny whether I say that. Also, whenever I burn anybody, I look over at Lupo and his facial expressions are phenomenal. So I just live to like make Lupo respond. But I just you're not wrong. I think that there's plenty of Witcher fanboys and girls who are like just jumping on the bandwagon. But I think that it's a pretty legitimate, like, Witcher was really good. There's a reason why Witcher is held to such a regard. There's a reason why people emulate different things in Witcher that it did really well. There's things in Witcher that were done really poorly. I can't think of any right now.
Especially in the beginning.
But when was the first time you played Witcher 3?
Because
For
it was an
me?
absolute mess at launch.
I played it after.
I did not play at launch,
Same.
but I did play close to when it came out. I think I
about
played like a
and a
year
half
later.
after.
Yeah.
It had to have been
And
almost
it
a
was
year ago
pretty
for
much
me.
smoothed out. But I heard
think I
horror
s-
stories.
I think I played it maybe a month after.
I'm
it launched.
expecting, I don't know about PC. I have not played a game like this on PC yet, but I'm expecting that there's going to be problems.
Yeah.
Like I don't go into any game on launch and be like, this is gonna be great right off the bat. But
This is perfect.
this is
Nope.
completely well executed. But I just, I think to bash a game for a fan base of people that the fan base is for a really well
It was just too slow.
criticized game. Like
That's what I'm worried about, though. I'm worried about that it's gonna, like you're talking about these really in-depth RPG. If they go too far one side with the RPG-ness and the story, like I feel like Mass Effect was a pretty good middle ground. Like you had lots of relationship building,
it's a different game.
RPG-ness. I know, but I'm just using it for
Apples
example.
And
I'm just using it for
understand, I
example.
understand.
Yeah. So they're and then you had some really good action. I felt like The Witcher, it was. I go over here and then I go into my inventory, spend 20 minutes doing potions, and I go over here, do some attacks, and then go into my inventory again, 20 minutes doing potions, and then go do attacks,
Virtual
and
Steak.
then go talk to this random person for 10 minutes in an inn that has nothing to do with anything else in the story. And it just didn't grab me. It just didn't move the story
does
along
alchemy.
quick enough to keep me going.
Yeah.
And look,
Well, here's the
That
thing.
there's
used
games
maybe a
like
total of 20
Valhalla.
potions the whole game.
There's games like Valhalla where I wasn't feeling it at first, but I kept with it, and then I really enjoyed it. Like there's games like Ghost of Tsushima that is slower paced, but
Well,
I
it was
like it
great.
because
Because
the
there's still
story
gameplay
is so
first,
good.
story second.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that with something like Witcher, I've not played Red Dead, but I know it's very similar, and something that is seemingly going to be like Cyberpunk. I loved that Crow just related it to Skyrim, because when he said that, the first thing I thought was, I have a Skyrim save that's like 100+ hours, and I did not do the campaign. It's just
My
like
main
me.
one's over 2,000 hours.
It's just like me running around and like doing whatever I wanted. You could play Witcher and not play the main campaign and go wherever you wanted. And I think the problem is that for many people like you, Mule, and we've had conversations about your interests of what you want out of a story and what you want out of gameplay, you prefer a less open world setting, which is fine. Like that, a lot of people prefer that. I just
A
said
linear open world.
ago that I like bounties in Destiny, which is the dumbest thing because I could go do everything without bounties. I like bounties because it gives me a purpose, right? So in Mass Effect and Dragon Age and all of just like Scarecrow just said, like a linear open world, I have a direction to go, and there's no alchemy. Screw it. I don't need the alchemy. In Witcher, you really don't have a direction to go. You pick
I
your
don't
direction.
necessarily have to have a linear open world. I mean, it's just I felt like some of the side quests was just kind of like there to be there. It was just extra stuff to do.
Yeah,
It
and so you
wasn't
don't
like-
need
That's definitely every game, because even as much as like I love Andromeda, there's a lot of side quests where I'm just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that was completely
That's true. Andromeda
unnecessary.
was
Yep.
side quests were poorly done though. Like I'll say most of the bigger side quests in Witcher, I will give you. There's some side quests in Witcher I was like, I'm never doing this. It's a waste of my time. I am not going to invest in this. But Witcher did some of the side quests that were bigger really, really well. In Andromeda, those side quests, I literally did one so I could hear half a sentence about Miranda Lawson, and she wasn't even listed. And I was like, this is what I just wasted my time for this lore for. Like, it wasn't even worth my time. But it was still like a linear story.
Yeah.
I had to progress the story in order to move forward. And I think that Cyberpunk, you could go into Cyberpunk and not do the story, and you can probably just run around and do whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
My guess.
Yeah, and I like open world stories. I mean, I played
Sure,
the
I'm not saying
Odyssey,
you
I
don't.
played Valhalla, but like I felt like both of those though compel the story enough to keep me engaged. And I just never. Maybe I didn't give The Witcher enough time. I think I spent like almost.
I mean,
What was it, like 35
Probably.
hours? 35 hours in it.
I think it's a combination of that, and it's just overall not your normal play style.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming.
So,
I mean, it
it
is.
We'll still give you a hard
And I'm-
time for it regardless.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know,
It just
we
makes me
know the
nervous. I'm really excited for Cyberpunk. I really can't wait to dive in because I love futuristic crap. Like Lupo and I are eye to eye with futuristic
I love that
sci-fi. It's just I love it, man. Yeah.
Well, Liberation, I had a question. Should we expect Cyberpunk to be like an intense gameplay, as with Crisis series, or fall extremely short? I didn't play the remaster, but I played two of the old ones, and it was intense combat, kind of like Halo, like all the time. From what I understood, it's not going to be as intense constantly. When you get into gunfights,
it's
it
gonna be
will be that
intense.
way if you choose that. You can go all melee, you can go all stealth, you can go all hack. You can mix it up. But there's also a lot of drama and NPC interaction as well. So I would not compare it to Crysis as far as constant combat, individual gunfights. I've seen some that are pretty insane, but I don't think it's a constant.
I love the comparison to Skyrim. I think that was great, Crow. I think that
I think it's
Skyrim.
also going to be a lot like Deus Ex.
I've not played Deus Ex, but
Deus Ex is a lot of you're in these smaller but open world cities. There's a few different ones, but then like if it's a main story thing, you will go into more of a linear path mission area where it's a little more intense, not quite Crisis or Halo level, but a bit dialed back. I'm trying to think of something else, like maybe like a single player Division.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like the Deus Ex fights remind me very much of a Division, where you're kind of like trying
to not like stupid bullet sponges. At least.
No. You're really more worried about like getting to the particular place and trying to just pick people off one by one strategically. Like, if that's it, like I didn't like Deus Ex, like just because I don't like stealth games. I don't like slow paced games. I want to feel the power. I want to be able to just go into a room and just kill everything at once.
I'm with you, man.
I want to go in there and pick off every person individually and never be seen.
I will
never
not be
heard.
playing Cyberpunk stealthily.
Same page.
Now, I will say, if Cyberpunk's world is engaging enough, like I felt like Skyrim's world was engaging enough to keep me going, even though it was so massive. If it's like that and I stay engaged and interested, even though I'm not progressing the story, I'll keep playing it for sure, 100%. So
I will find it hard to believe if it's not like that. And one thing that I actually, now that you say that, would take away from Witcher is I don't think the world was very interesting. I liked Skellige a lot, but that's because Yennefer was there. But like, I don't actually think that like the world of The Witcher was that interesting. I was like, this looks the same. The music's the same. I'm in a swamp. Now I'm across the water. Like there's
everyone's voice sounded the same.
So once you got you some good NPCs.
Correct. The NPCs, of course.
This is The Witcher.
This is it. But I agree with you, Mule. I would say that in a game like this, when it could be potentially slower, there's a lot of story over action in different parts of the game. The world better compel people, or it's going to be like, why am I here? I will say, like The Witcher, though, like because it had such good storytelling, and you could like interact with stuff along the way and fight monsters like along the way, it kept it interesting enough. But if I couldn't do that, it would have not been as enjoyable.
And I'll say, I think
Lupo. He's been trying.
Hooray!
Yes, Lupo.
So the one thing that's like driving me in the back of my head to want to play it more, like sci-fi aesthetic or future tech aesthetic like aside, is the idea that there's potentially multiplayer in the future.
Yes.
And like they really haven't talked about it, but if my build or my character carries over to that multiplayer and my friends are playing it, that drives me more to play. That's the type of gamer that I am. I've become very social in my games, and like that will drive me to play more. Whether I play the story or not, I will. If my friends say, "Hey, we're gonna go do this cool shit and get this awesome gun," I'm fucking there. Like that's just how I am.
Yeah.
That was actually something I thought you were going to say in your like initial why am I on the fence about this, because I know that you are really really partial to that social gaming aspect. So not surprised that was.
But they haven't said it other than it will exist in the future. They haven't said anything else.
Correct. No, you're right. But yeah, so that's why I wondered if that was one of your things. So
if they said this is going to be here day one, I'd be more interested.
Sure.
Now.
Absolutely.
But I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, I will provide updates as to when that's going to happen.
We saw
my thought has changed every 2 hours today, whether I was going to buy it or not.
I will say, if you are a Witcher fan, I'm pretty sure it's a good solid bet that they're going to deliver an equal experience, if not better. But
I don't think it's
something
going to
like
be better.
Mule, though, you got to be. I think you're going to, and Lupo, you're going to have to be really convinced to really stick with it or get it. But if you're already Witcher fan, this is kind of the ace in the hole.
I mean, I'll be doing
Yeah.
a review by the 14th. So if you want to wait for that, I might be
There
able
you
to
go.
provide you with some.
Norgaming.com. Yep. Yep.
I actually, to what Thad said, and then I know like we're wrapping up, but I don't know if it's going to be better than The Witcher. I'm very interested to see of just overall, like when everything's all said and done, when patches come out, et cetera, if it's going to be better than Witcher 3. I think that's a very hard feat.
Hard
I'd
sell.
say.
That's why I said equal to or better, not
Yep.
set on better.
We'll see. Yeah,
Right on.
that's it, baby. That's all I got.
Well, we've kind of gone a little over longer than we usually do, but there was just so much to talk about this episode.
There was.
So, yeah.
It was kind of meaty.
It was meaty for sure. Well, thank you all you guys that are listening to the audio version of the podcast. Thank all you cool cats that were watching us live on Twitch. If you like the podcast, make sure you visit mulehorngaming.com about page. Find more great content creators there. And if you're looking for some mule swag, be sure to visit the store page also on the website. And if you would, guys, like us on Facebook, leave us a review on iTunes. You can follow us all on Twitter. Remember, guys, when in doubt, blow it up!
Blow it up! Explosions!
Lupo is sold.